Okay, so what's the plan for today? The plan for today is to add login to the project. So the idea at the end of the day is that we'll be able to do these printouts here that we're doing now from our class statement, but instead of just printing it out like this, we're going to be able to print this out in colour, which will just make it a little bit more interesting. And as time goes on, this login project becomes very useful. So to start with, we're going to add a header file. This is going to be a let's just call it log.h. We've got our login mylog.h, but we're not going to be using that. Now the good news is I'm not doing any typing tonight other than what I've just done. We're going to take this is uploaded onto GitHub in the header file logh, and we're literally going to copy this file and paste it into our logh. Get rid of that because that's already on there, and there we go. Loads and loads of stuff already pre-typed, and I've gone overboard with the comments on it explaining what all these bits are. We're using a couple of new things in here. When I first started learning C++, I didn't do this until much later on in my journey, my programming journey, and I'm really sorry about that because I found it so useful to have a little login system for printing out errors and letting me know where errors were hiding, and that's why I thought I'd do it earlier in this series, because this is something I wish I'd learned earlier. Enums, that's a new one on us. Basically enums are a way of turning in a number into a meaningful name. It just makes it more, just makes the code more readable, etc. So this is our log levels. So we've got log level of error, warning, info, trace, and debug, and then we come down into here. These are little macros. Macros start with a define, and then you tell this is what it's going to be called. This is really complicated, and if I'm truly honest, I still don't understand it till today. These are I think they call them ASCII colors or something, and it's just this word here, ANSI, escape code colors, and these numbers let the console know what color the text's going to be. So we set them as a macro. Then the next little bit, this sets the active log level. So if it's in debug or if it's in release, you change this to whatever you are. Now obviously we're in debug at the moment because we're working on it, and all that does is then down the bottom here, that sets this section here. If it's in debug, it'll print out the levels, the log errors or the log warnings or the log info trace. If you're in release mode, you set that up here to release, and then basically all it does then is it does the else. It doesn't print anything to the screen. So if it was a finished project, you set it to release, and then it doesn't print out all the error messages that you've set or any other information messages you've set in there. We then come through here, and this basically sets the colors to the log level. This bit here is much more complicated. It's all commented through there, so you can see what it's doing. This basically is setting up to concatenate the strings, etc. This generates the macro, handles different log levels and the message format. And it just, you can read that I've written it out pretty much on every line of what it's actually doing. I don't need to read it all out. This isn't story time. Actually, I wish it would probably be more interesting. Then we come through here, and this literally sets the this piece here also adds VARGs on the end of it, which allows you to put a value in the end of the string, so you can add values to the end of things, so your string can have a value. Anyhow, like I say, it's all commented. There's loads and loads of information on there as to what this is doing. We now need to go in here, and in here, what this now allows us to do, if we're smart and include the header file and include that in there, like so. Not like that at all. Hang on, we need to go up one. In there, that should then should if I did it properly, something like that. Knew we'd get there eventually. That then allows us to do things like we can simply call the log level, so we can do log, what can we do? Well, I mean, there's loads of different ones. Underscore, what should we do? Warning. There we go. And luckily for me, it'll come up so as I haven't got to go through loads of different things on there. And we can also do well, my cursor's all over the place. Let's do log. Do log error. See, it's lucky because my computer knows what was coming next, so that's because I've already typed it. We can do trace and so forth. We can also do things like, if we wanted to do actually, I'll tell you what, let's do one more. Let's do log info. It's an information message, and let's take I don't know, let's take player speed. I'm cheating by copying and pasting because I just type so slowly, it really is painful. And we want a gap on the end of that, then we can go like this, and we can go we can add this in literally from there into the end like that, and that gives us the opportunity to print in pretty colours. Take a few seconds to run. Ta-da! Isn't that fantastic? The advantage of having this is you can have different, later on as we start to build up different things. I did this because when I started learning C++, I decided I was going to make a games engine. What could possibly go wrong? This becomes really useful because you can set this up in different ways. You can also, I mean, you can do really simple things with it as well. I mean, if you want to set a number for something, that wasn't quite what I had in mind. That's because I pressed the wrong key. And then in here we would simply just go. So you can get different things So you can set different things. I mean, you could set this as a line number if you wanted to. So all you would do is, if you had a function or a class or something and you wanted to know what part of that class was, you could simply set the line number and then set a warning message if something went wrong in that class at that point. Or you can use it for in if-else statements, so you can set it so as it'll tell you when the program's running, it'll tell you when the program's ending. You can use it for all sorts of different things. Anyhow, I thought I'd add that into it today because I just thought it would be more interesting to do something that was a little bit more other than just writing out some of these other little bits and pieces. The next thing I want to do to this, as we progress, we can add in here, we'll be able to add in a timestamp to it, and we can also add in file logging. So you could actually write this out to a file. So you could write this out to a little log file or like a text file. So there's a couple of little bits I want to add to it. But like I say, as time goes on, I think this will become a very useful little part of the project, which I wish when I was learning right at the very beginning, I wish I'd have thought about this right at the very beginning. It was not till much later on that I decided that having a login program was a good idea. Anyhow, hope you found it enjoyable. Thanks for watching if you did.